What is up? This is your LA in a minute. And when Juan Francisco Ochoa opened up the very first El Pollo Loco in Guasave, Sinaloa, Mexico, he had no idea that it would eventually become the largest grilled chicken chain in the United States. I'll bet he also had no idea that Brad Pitt would become the mascot barely a year after he opened up his first location in the US, right here in Los Angeles. What? Let's get into it. Juan Francisco Ochoa, or Pancho as he's known to this day, opened his first El Pollo Loco in Guasave, Sinaloa in 1974. Along with his wife Flerida, he owned a small shoe store in Guasave, and by the time he'd get off work, the grilled chicken place that he liked was often out of chicken because they only grilled 100 chickens per day. The couple discussed this plight about not being able to get the grilled chicken, but he knew that Florida's fruit-based marinade was loved by the family, so they decided to sell their shoe inventory and convert the store to grilled chickens because there was obviously a high demand in the area. On January 6, 1974, they opened a small roadside location outside of the former shoe store, containing 10 tables and a working capital of 15,000 pesos. They knew with Florida's marinade and Pancho's expertise on the grill, they had a smash hit on their hands. And they were right. Within a few hours, they sold all 43 chickens on that very first day. The success continued, and 3 years later, Ochoa's brother Jaime quit his job and opened the company's second location in San Luis Potosi. By the end of 1979, El Pollo Loco had 85 restaurants in 20 cities throughout northern Mexico, many operated by family members or close friends. But it was expansion to the north that Ochoa really had his sights set on. He was familiar with a specific section of Alvarado Street in Los Angeles, which had a high concentration of immigrants from Sinaloa. He followed his instinct and opened that first location on December 8th, 1980. And again, it was an immediate smash hit with a very simple menu, a choice of half or whole chicken with a packet of warm tortillas and a cup of salsa. Immediately, LA embraced El Pollo Loco. And El Pollo Loco embraced Los Angeles. People couldn't get enough of the crazy chicken, and the company expanded rapidly on both sides of the border, even taking the fight to the beloved American chain Kentucky Fried Chicken, saying that if the Colonel had his chicken as good as ours, he'd be a general by now. And it was during this ascension that the rising star of fast food crossed paths with another rising star, Brad Pitt. After leaving the University of Missouri, Pitt moved to LA, and one of his first jobs was for El Pollo Loco, donning the chicken suit as a mascot. This is not a real photo of Pitt in the mascot suit, by the way. But what is real is that Pitt really did have that job, and he said he had no shame regarding his time as the mascot. Even on the Ellen DeGeneres show, he said, "Man's gotta eat," and El Pollo Loco was delicious. In 1983, Ochoa sold his U.S. locations to Denny's for $11.3 million while still retaining the El Pollo Loco units in Mexico. And just 4 years later, the U.S. locations were sold when Denny's was purchased in a larger transaction by TW Services, but the brand continued to expand. Led by aggressive advertising and delicious chicken, El Pollo Loco opened nearly 100 more locations over the next 7 years. And in 1995, they even earned a place in the Guinness Book of World Records by building the world's longest burrito in Anaheim, California, 3,112 feet long, and it weighed 2 tons. Wow! But the fun would come to a screeching halt as the new parent company of El Pollo Loco and Denny's, Flagstar, would file bankruptcy in 1997. This continued the merry-go-round of corporate owners and even an IPO that left the chain unable to really reach its full potential nationally. But in the meantime, Ochoa stayed busy with his El Pollo Locos south of the border, and he even opened Taco Palenque in Laredo, Texas, and even acquired ownership of the El Pollo Loco trademark and intellectual property within Mexico, returning it to the Mexican company. And through it all, El Pollo Loco on both sides of the border continues to be known for that juicy and delicious chicken. So what's the secret? First, there's that secret marinade. I don't know the ingredients, and they're not public, even though they've tried to be reverse engineered. And every chicken is cooked anywhere from 50 to 63 minutes in 4 distinct stages. And though the American version of El Pollo Loco is fairly stagnant growth-wise, despite numerous rebrands, but Juan Francisco Ochoa, Pancho, and his family still own the Mexican chain, and though they're not affiliated with or operated by the American El Pollo Loco, they proudly operate in more than 50 locations within Mexico City and the surrounding states of Mexico. So from a small little storefront in Guasave, Sinaloa, to the first U.S. location on Alvarado Street, to the days of Brad Pitt being the mascot, El Pollo Loco became the world's largest grilled chicken chain from right here in Los Angeles. All right, LA, it's been a minute.